What's going on, guys? It's Chandler here at the channel, coming back to you guys again with another video. Today we're going to be going over another firearm build that we have here on the channel. This one is my everyday carry, the P365, which I have made into a P365 XL. And of course, we're clear. Let's check it out. First off, up front, just want to let you guys know that we were not sent any of this for review. This was all purchased with our own funds. Now, a lot of you who've been with the channel a while know that I have had a P365 for quite a long time. I love the gun, the base of the gun. It's absolutely spectacular. It revolutionized the single stack carry when they released it, having to have basically a Glock 43 size handgun that holds 10 rounds instead of 6. And it was spectacular, and that was one of the reasons that brought me to it. However, as that line has went on and they have expanded the P365 line into the P365, the P365 SAS, and the P365 XL, I always wanted to evolve my P365 into a different build as more parts came available for it. And that's kind of what this video is about. As I became more proficient and knew what I liked on my handguns better than others, I could take certain steps to make my way towards that. So of course, it originated from a regular P365 and all the modifications that I had on it, the T-Rex arm sidecar, and then I only put the Talon rubberized grip tape, and then I carried a 12-round magazine with it, and this was my setup. Of course, after having that original setup, the P365 XL came out, and that was something that I really wanted to get my hands on, but I could never seem to get one in stock at the local gun shop. Instead of buying a full handgun again to have the P365 XL, since I couldn't get my hands on one, what I ended up doing is getting the kit that changed the P365 into a P365 XL. And what that comes with is the grip module and the long slide for the P365 XL. And the P365 series of handguns is very similar to the P320 series of handguns in the way that the serialized part on the handgun is not the grip or the slide. The serialized part on the handgun is actually the trigger group. So when I got the kit from SIG, I really wanted to have the benefits of the longer grip module and the longer slide. And having the optics compatibility right out of the box was something awesome. So naturally, after I got my hands on the P365 XL slide and grip module, I could start building out this handgun to what I wanted it to be. And I had every base platform that I needed, nearly. Of course, the first thing I took advantage of when I got the XL slide was the optics compatibility. Now, what I have mounted on here currently is the SIG Romeo Zero with their shroud over top of it. I know a lot of people ask how we got our hands on the shroud for the Romeo Zero. I will leave a link to the video up here somewhere. And as well, I believe if you get a Romeo Zero now and buy it new, it will come with that shroud. Now, this dot is a little controversial. I have had good success with it so far. I've carried it every day as well as used it multiple times on the range, got a few hundred rounds through it at the point, but of course with the ammo situation being what it is, we can't go through it as much as we want to. The only complaint I have for the dot at this point isn't the polymer lens. It's not the polymer housing because I was able to get the shroud. It's actually is the button placement for the brightness. It is literally right behind the lens, and if you try to change it with anything other than a pen or say a tip of a screwdriver, a tip of a punch, you're going to end up basically, when you try to press that button, press your finger against the lens and you're going to get fingerprints on it and everything, which is really annoying. My least favorite part about the optic. We'll see how it does in the long term, but that's where it sits for now. Still pleased with it aside from that button and brightness setting. Next up in the build on the 365 is this fantastic polymer bottom rail that replaces and goes over the SIG proprietary rail that comes with the gun. The tactical development rail gives you a lot more options in terms of what lights you can mount on the P365. With that addition of that rail, you can put all sorts of lights on it. At that point, all you really have to do is find a good holster that you like and that can accommodate for these. However, Tactical Development has on their website a list of holster companies that will accommodate their rail system for the 365 and 365 XL and whatever light you choose. So I'm very pleased with what we've been able to find in tactical development, especially for this build, and we thank you guys for giving that shout out for us to look into that. It's actually really helped a lot. Next, of course, on the build list is the magazines. When I carry the 365 XL, I always have 2 magazines on me. I always have, of course, the flush fit 12 round, and then I also picked up a 15 round extension from SIG, so that this is their 15 round magazine that also fits and you can carry as so. Having those extra 3 rounds in the magazine may not seem like a lot, however for me it gives me a little more peace of mind. Next up in the build, and this is probably the most controversial piece that I will have in the build, and that is the Olight PL Mini to Valkyrie. Now Olights are quite polarizing in terms of people like them, people don't. Of course they are made overseas, similar to Holosun. However, at the moment, I have no reason to doubt what they can do. They've worked well for me anytime I've needed them at the moment. It is a 600 lumen light, which has a max output for, I think, a couple minutes. And then after that, it slowly dials down, just as normal high output lights do. However, it is a rechargeable battery, so that's something else to think about. I like how modular and the slider works on it, so you can adjust it to where you need it on the gun. There's gonna be pros and cons with it all the time, but right now, of course, this works for me, so I use it, but I will be analyzing other lights in the future. So one of the last things that I did to kind of get the P365 where I wanted it was I changed the grip tape from the regular SIG texturing to the Talon Pro grip tape. I like the Talon Pro grip the best. Trevor did a review on it. I have the rubberized grip tape on the P365 normal module, and I have the granulate or sandpaper like grip tape on my VP9. I like both of them, but I think the Pro is a good mix of both worlds. The rubber tape is softer, less irritating on your skin, however over time it does wear down and get slick. The granulate one, of course, is great, but it is rough after a long day of carrying, and it looks like you've taken sandpaper to either your clothes or, of course, your stomach. And I find that the Pro grip tape works quite well in getting the mix of both worlds, so when you sweat it doesn't move and you get a good purchase on the gun in all conditions. And finally, technically it isn't considered part of the build, however since slings are considered part of the build, I'm going to consider a holster a part of the build. It is in fact how the gun sticks to me, just like a sling. So I have here my McKinatec Kina holster that we did a review on in the past. It is a great holster, very similar to how the Tier 1 concealment holster is laid out. And what I have done in addition to this is I have added recently a Tier 1 wide foam wedge, so that way it gives me a little more cushion when carrying, and I don't have the hard plastic areas that stick out from the light molding pressing against me. I like it a lot. It's helped a lot, and I enjoy it. And that's gonna about do it for the P365 build for my everyday carry pistol. If you all enjoyed the video, feel free to leave us a like, comment below, and subscribe. If any comments, we try to get back to as soon as possible. So let us know what you think about the build. I like it a lot. The only thing that I might change on it in the future is the light, maybe the optic if the Romeo Zero turns out not to be up to spec as the rest of the Romeo series, but time will tell, so stick around for that. As always, we've got a lot of great content coming down the pipeline, so stick around and make sure you stay tuned. This has been Chandler with Range Day, where every day is range day. Have a good one, guys.